He's not somebody that everyone's going to like. If you don't like disco, you're probably not going to like the guy. This is the show where I share some of my collection and the artists I love and why they had such a huge influence on me. Welcome to Influencers. I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. Today I'm going to talk about somebody who I know in certain corners of the vinyl community and of the music community on YouTube is utterly reviled. But I have to be honest, I will never revile the man because I'm not kidding when I say that his music helped save me in high school. I grew up, my high school, junior high and high school years, in a very small farming community outside of Spokane, Washington, called Harrington. Less than 500 people are there now. At the time, it was just less than 600 people. My graduating class, 1981, had the largest graduating class in the school in 70 years. We had 21 kids in the class. Everyone around me was into heavy metal. Kiss was the thing. Nazareth, Ted Nugent. I never gravitated that way. I've always been a pop person. And in the 1970s, I gravitated toward disco. In addition to Barry Manilow and ABBA and other acts you'll hear about on this show eventually. But I was having a real rough time when we made the transition from junior high to high school, even though it was in the same school, same kids. And when I was a freshman, this gentleman released his first album. And side one of that first album got me through. Whenever I was feeling really bad or really down, I could look up to this album. I could put it on. I could play it because it was a 15-minute long suite. And by the time it was over, I was usually feeling okay again. I'm a little bereft of some of the stuff. I've got a few things on my want list from him that I still haven't been able to get. I'm not a completist, mind you. The singles I don't necessarily need unless they are available anywhere else. But I really love his music, and he isn't a musician as far as a recording artist goes. He's actually the producer on most of these albums. He may have played one or two instruments on a couple of them, but for the most part, it was he and his production team, which consisted of Tony Bongiovi and Harold Wheeler, that did most of the work. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Miko Monardo. Miko came out with Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk in the fall of 1977 and changed my life forever. I have loved him ever since, and I will continue to love him. I actually had a chance to correspond with him while I was working with discjockey.com in 2000, which was, terrific. I have an autographed CD from him around here somewhere. This man was my hero. In early 1977, Mikko, who had been a producer and had done other things in the disco for the Music Corporation of America, which is where Mikko originally came from, our Music Entertainment Corporation of America, I forget which. He'd seen Star Wars when it came out, and by the next day he'd seen it 7 times. And over the course of the next few months, he would see it multiple more times. He became entranced not just by the movie, but by John Williams' music. By the summertime, he had written and arranged a suite of all the main themes in the movie, and it manifested as this #1 album, which produced the #1 single Star Wars theme / Cantina Band in early September. And of course, the music is credited to all these alien musicians because Cantina Band, that's been his whole thing all the way through. His other primary partner, Lance Quinn, was also involved with this, along with, as I said, Tony Bon Jovi, Jimmy Iovine, and Harold Wheeler many times was also involved. Harold Wheeler might be a familiar name to those of you who watch Dancing with the Stars. He was the band leader on that show for the first 14 seasons, or 20 some cycles, I think. He was also involved in jazz and a bunch of other things over the years. And Tony Bon Jovi, you might know that name because he is the older cousin of singer John Bon Jovi, and we'll talk about him in a few minutes. Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk saved my life when I was a teenager. I really did. It gave me the courage and the strength to get through every day. Helped me. It was on when I was doing my homework. It was on when I wasn't listening to other records of the radio. It was on when I would fight with my mom, which happened quite frequently when I was in high school. It was my go-to album. There are people in the VC that utterly hate this album. They have called it one of the worst albums ever made. I beg to differ. I have my reasons, and I don't deny yours, but I love disco, and I love Mikko. And he has a collection. I have most of his albums. I don't have all of them, unfortunately. I do have them on my Discogs list. I'm eventually trying to pick them all up that I'm missing. Star Wars was a monster hit for him. And by the end of 1978, actually early 1978, he had come out with his second album. This one is my favorite. It is also the favorite of Dawn of Two Hip Chicks. Encounters of Every Kind. Despite the title, which was designed to invoke the Close Encounters of the Third Kind film, it only appears as the final song on the album. The rest is all original music, and most of it along a time travel trip interlaced with other music. This has some of his best music ever, and it remains my all-time favorite Mikko album, especially the songs Roman Nights, Icebound, Hot in the Saddle, Topsy, his cover of Topsy, which is from the 1940s, and the great song called Mikko's Theme, 357th. Always love those. His version of Close Encounters is pretty cool too, although I actually like the dance version of the original theme that was released of the John Williams version. But this is also one of my few that has the Columbia Recording Club sticker on it. I did get this from them. This is another album I can listen from start to finish and never take it off and never want to. I love what they've done here. And he has a story about each album on the back of him. Usually something, it's this right here, it's right here. I need to know where I point. On this album. And it's an amazing disco album. If you're into disco, it's definitely a go-to album. The whole time travel thing, which starts way back in the beginning, as it's called, and ends with Close Encounters. It's a brilliant concept, and I thought he did it really well. And not a bad track on the entire album. At the end of 1978, The Wiz came out. Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nipsey Russell, a bunch of other people in it. Didn't get the best of reviews, although the music was really good. The movie itself wasn't terrific. And Mikko decided to come out with his own suite of the music from the original film, Mikko, the Wizard of Oz. In Discogs, it's credited as Mikko Plays the Wizard of Oz, although that particular title is not anywhere that I can find on here. Again, produced by Mikko, Tony Bon Jovi, and Harold Wheeler. This is all of the music from Wizard of Oz on two sides with two suites. These first three albums were released on Millennium Records. I don't know if you're familiar with that label. Millennium was around until 1980s, but at the time, Mikko was the best-known artist on the label, along with Brooklyn Dreams, which was the trio from Brooklyn, obviously, who one of whom was Donna Summer's life mate, Bruce Sedano. When Millennium was sold to RCA from Casablanca, Miko opted to jump to the Casablanca label, and everything else, or most everything else, is on the Casablanca label, with one or two exceptions. This has everything. I mean, if you look at it, you can see the song list. It has every song from the movie in it, and We're Off to See the Wizard is a great number that was released as a single under the title Themes from the Wizard of Oz. It also featured a couple of other tracks all mixed together in what would now be called a mega mix. It was great, and I picked this up in the cutout bin, although there's no cutout notches, for $1.99 right after it came out. Nobody wanted it, which is a shame, because it's a really great album. Now, Miko changed his logo. See that nice logo that appeared on the first three albums for the fourth album, but there was a reason for it. He switched to Casablanca for distribution after this for most of his material. And this album, I think, is, of all of his albums, my least favorite. I like it. I do play it. I still enjoy it. But I don't know. There's something about the original music from this film that gets me a lot more than this one did. And he's a terrific guy for doing this. And so many people did songs based on the character in 1979 after the movie became such a huge hit. This is Miko's fourth album, Superman and Other Galactic Heroes. Side 1 is a suite of the music from the John Williams movie, Superman the movie. Was it John Williams? Richard Donner did that, didn't he? I don't remember who directed the first movie. John Williams did the music. The second side is all original song, all written by Harold Wheeler, dedicated to other DC superheroes, the Boy Wonder, the Cape Crusader, Lord of the Jungle, which was Tarzan, it wasn't a DC, and the Amazing Amazon, meaning Wonder Woman. This is the other one I got from the RCA Record Club. I just see. While this is great, the reason I got these where I did is because I was trapped in Harrington and couldn't get them anywhere else. Couldn't get up to Spokane. Occasionally I would find them elsewhere, or on a rare trip to Spokane, such as the fifth one. Again, as always, all the musicians are credited to some of the real ones, some alien ones. The Lumen family, Slokins they are. Lou 18, 23, 41, 94, 17, and 00 from the planet Fuya, I believe it is, are always on the albums. It's just a lot of fun. And again, he has the little story about how he came to record. Actually, this is a little story from John Williams about Miko's album, so that's pretty cool. It is the least favorite of my albums of this kind from him, and so it doesn't get as much play as the other ones, but I still like it. Miko's fifth album came out in late 1979. By the way, Discogs has them in the wrong order. So if you doubt the order, look at the label, look at the release numbers. The order is right with me, trust me. Miko's fifth album was his first all-original album. It was music that most of which was probably written by Harold Wheeler. It was produced and arranged by Miko, and it was based on a night in an interstellar disco, and it's called Moon Dancer. This album did not chart at all on the Hot 100, on the top 200, but it did chart on the dance chart. All of his did, had at least one song. This is an album that features some vocalists. Cantina Band, they're called the Cantina Band, but the vocals are credited to Gordon Grody, Diva Gray, and Lanny Groves, all of whom had successful 12 Feet from Stardom type careers over the years. Again, the same alien musicians and real musicians are credited. Miko actually does play trombone on this album. I think he plays it on a couple of the other albums, so he is an artist on these. And he went back to the original Miko logo, as you can see there. This is a great album. It's got some vocals. It's terrific. It's a little different than all of the movie music that he's done before. And I originally had bought this as a prize for something that we were doing at school, and then when it was decided we weren't going to do that, I'm like, well, I'll take that anyway. I'll buy it. And I bought it. You haven't paid me for it yet, so I'll keep it because I love Miko, and I do. So, Moon Dancer. This is one you can check out if you get a chance. This is more of a traditional disco style album than any of the other ones he's done, and it was really good. Next up, one of my favorites by him, without a question, and it's the first one. You'll see because it's got ringware out the wazoo. And then it also came from RCA because I couldn't find it anywhere in Spokane on my trips up there. This is, again, produced by Mikko, Tony Bongiovi, and Harold Wheeler. Most of the music on it was composed by the movies or the TV people involved. This was released in, I believe it was early 1980. Yeah, early 1980. Music from Star Trek, music from the Black Hole, usually referred to music from Star Trek and the Black Hole. Side A is Star Trek music, and Side B is music from the Disney film The Black Hole. The Star Trek medley is music from Star Trek The Motion Picture, one of my all-time favorite scores from Jerry Goldsmith. He does Love Before Time as love theme from Star Trek, and he does a killer, really fun version of the theme from the television series by Alexander Courage with an alien rap in the middle talking about the characters, Kirk, Spock, McCoy. It's a lot of fun, and if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll love it. It's great fun. Music from the Black Hole, at the time I had not seen the film, I didn't see it until it came on cable, is also fantastic, particularly the number known as Clear Motion, which was actually the flip side of the Star Trek single. And it's been one of my favorite songs because of its close resemblance to the opening theme from the 1970s British series The Tomorrow People. Very similar sound to it. Love this album to death, as you can see. Look at the ringware. Look at the ringware on that thing. It's gotten a lot of use over the years. Fantastic stuff. Now, the next album is Mikko only in production. He does not do any of the vocals or any of the music that I'm aware of. And it is only marginally part of his catalog, but it does deserve to be included because he created the concept and he did produce it, along with Tony Bongiovi and Lance Quinn. But it did feature a lot of other stuff and a lot of other players. And it was out of print for years until it was finally re-released on CD in 1996, I believe. It was originally released at Christmas 1980. The timing wasn't great because earlier that year, The Empire Strikes Back had came out. That was the darkest of the original 3 Star Wars films. And so this one kind of was jarring to most Star Wars fans. I talked about this on my Obscuria show at Christmas time when I played the single from this album. This is Christmas in the Stars, the Star Wars Christmas album, featuring the voice of Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. A young John Bon Jovi makes his recorded vocal debut as the lead singer on R2-D2, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And it's a great album, and it has some great performances from Maury Yeston, Rod McBrien, and Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. And back then, if you want to look real closely at the lead vocals there, John's name was still spelled normally, John, John, Bon Jovi, before he dropped it and split it into two words. But I'm sorry, this is one of my all-time favorite Christmas albums. Yes, it was meant for kids, and it is a kids album. Don't get me wrong. But the music is so fun. This is not the Star Wars Holiday Special. The music is fun, it's enlightening, it's uplifting, and it really does bring a smile to my face every time I listen to it. Especially the single, What Could You Get a Wookiee for Christmas When He Already Owns a Comb? And the flip side, R2-D2, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. I have that on picture sleeve also, but I don't have my 45s are still in the closet. Okay, I'm going to skip here to Discogs. I got to look this up because I'm missing 2 things that came out. 3 things, the next 3 things that came out, I'm missing. I've never been able to get them. One of them, I do have the single from, and there's only 4 songs on the new disc. Anybody remember new discs? something that the Columbia Epic CBS was trying in 1980, reissuing 10-inch albums and singles. Mikko plays music from The Empire Strikes Back. I have the 45 of the Empire Strikes Back medley, and the Force theme, I think, is on the flip side. Strangely enough, I remember the single being on RSO. I don't know whether I don't know whether RSO was under that banner, because I thought they were still being distributed by Polygram at that time, or Polydor, but I might be wrong. In any case, later that fall, he would release a song I just featured as I'm loading this yesterday on Obscuria, a song called Love Theme from Shogun, Mariko's theme from Shogun, which was a single only, and that also came from the same period. Next up, Impressions of an American Werewolf in London. This was his final album for Casablanca. Never been able to find this. I saw it once in a store, and I didn't have the money to grab it at the time, and I've never grabbed it since. I know it's on Discogs, but it actually is pretty expensive if you want a good copy of it. It's hard to find. I'd still like to have it. I'd like to have the Empire Strikes Back one, too. One of these days, I will hunker down and actually get them, because when it comes to the albums, I'm a completist. The third one, actually, I think came out after the next album I'm going to talk about. But Swing Time's Greatest Hits was part of the medley craze. In 1981, Stars on 45, credited in Europe as simply Stars On, set off a chain of medleys coming out from everywhere with their Beatles medley and Sugar Sugar and Venus at the top, which was a #1 hit. The album Stars on Long Play, and of course every act under the sun had to do medleys, including several that Mikko was involved with. The first one was a single in 1981 called Summer 1981. It was a Beach Boys medley with sound-alikes, credited to the Cantina Band. Mikko did produce it. There was Swing Time's Greatest Hits, which was a medley along the lines of Hooked on Classics, which came out in early 1982, with all swing music, big band era music. And finally, there was Pop Goes the Movies. This album featured Mikko's last top 40 hit. It was called Pop Goes the Movies. It was a medley of movie songs. This album includes sidelong medleys of songs that were first featured in films, again with the disco dance beat. This was released on Arista. This was his first deal with them. Swing Time's Greatest Hits, I think, actually came out. Let me look real quick. Oh, it was. It was also on Arista. I'm sorry. And I was wrong about. I thought it was the other one. Swing Time's Greatest Hits is out on Arista, as is Pop Goes the Movies. And again, medleys all over the place. I don't listen to this much, but it's a lot of fun when I do. And it's a lot of fun anyway, because it's Mikko. After those, one more medley album, Hooked on Instrumentals, came out in 1983. That one was on RCA. I don't know. I think he was mainly the producer on that one. Although it is credited to him, and it was actually later released on K-Tel album as well. I'm not sure about that one, and I'm still looking for that one. His final album for a number of years came out in 1983, also on Arista, and that is Ewok Celebration. He released this because he had already released the Star Wars and the Empire Strikes Back discs. This is it is not, however, devoted to just Return of the Jedi. It is also it has the single Ewok Celebration and Laptinek, which hit number 60, I believe, on the chart. It also has Maniac from Flashdance, Love Theme from Superman 3, the theme from War Games, their version of Nights Are Forever from Twilight Zone, the theme from Star Wars, a new recording of it, and for some unknown reason, the theme from Simon and Simon from television. Again, it's all credited to his, way out people. Ewok Rap was Duke Butu or Botio, with vocals on this album by Diva Gray, Gordon Grody, Frank Floyd, Kurt Zanian, and Retsim Awesome. And Diva Gray did the Hut solo on Lapti Neck, and Garbo sings Knights of Forever and War Games, and Michael Falcon, on Maniac. And the sax solo on Simon and Simon and the Lyricon solo on Maniac were done by a relatively newly signed artist to Arista named Kenny G. This is one of his first projects. This is the last one I have of the albums, and there are a couple more. I have a CD. I'll talk about that in a second, but I can't get to it. I have enjoyed Miko's music forever. After those, another album finally came out. There was, well, actually, they've got that. That's not the right one. Let me see here, because it's not. Discogs is kind of messed up with the way they have his listings, so I've had to like go back and like find things. He released a CD in 1997 called The Best of Miko, which includes most of the best-known stuff that he did, including the entire Star Wars as the single version and the entire Star Wars suite from the first album, plus tracks from everything, including, it is the entire first album on here. The Galactic Funk is on here too. And also, it's the only place that you can get stuff from Impressions of American Werewolf in London. Interestingly enough, I thought it was kind of strange that Ewok Celebration wasn't included. I think it has to do with the vocals, because they did include Empire Strikes Back, but they did not include the Love Theme from Shogun on that either, which I thought was a crime, because I love that song. In 1980, there was an album released in Europe called Across the Galaxy, which was his greatest hits up to that time. And then after retiring from the music biz in the 1980s, he came back in 2000 with Dance Your Asteroids Off, the complete Star Wars collection. This is an independent production. He released it on his own label. It has digital re-recordings of his early stuff, plus new music from Phantom Menace, including the dance version of Duel of the Fates, and also has Ewok Celebration on it for the first time. This is the album that I have that he autographed for me. I love this CD, and while it doesn't stack up overall, because it's re-recordings and redos of some of the stuff, it's still well done, and it is terrific. And if you can find it, it's worth getting it if you like his stuff. There was another release in 2010 that is really difficult to find. I mean, it says it's only $8.78 highest on Discogs, but when I'm searching for it to buy one, I've been seeing it mostly for like $40, $50. It is a compilation of two albums that were released in, I believe, the early to mid 1980s in Europe, Camouflage and Showdown. I'm going to find these, 1977, I'm sorry. They came out before. Oh, they were before Star Wars. So, in any case, I am going to pick these up one of these days, because it's Miko and I want everything. Now, there are a few one-shots that he did as 45s. All of those came during the 1980s. I have a few of them. I don't have all of them. And the ones I have, I'm content to have. As I mentioned, there was the main theme from Shogun and Love Theme from Shogun, released on RSO in 1980. There was the single The Raiders March and Cairo Nights from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was released from Columbia Records and has never been included on an album. There was Anything Goes, which was released from, I think, the second Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Is that right? Yeah. I found this and picked it up on 45 recently. It was in one of my recent hauls, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, he's been quiet. I've actually surprised. I mean, there was an album called Star Wars Party that came out mail order only and was later released on CD in stores. And that's the wrong one. I'm sorry, Discogs is confusing me again. Here we go. Music inspired by Star Wars in 2005 when it came out in stores. This does include mostly stuff off of the first 3 movies from Phantom Menace. He did not get any new music out that I know of from Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith. I haven't been able to find anything new from those. I'm surprised he didn't, because he is such a huge warsy. And it's a bit, some of these I've got to sit down and hunker down and say, I got to save up and get this because I really want this. Miko is an acquired taste, and I'm the first person to admit it. He's not somebody that everyone's going to like. If you don't like disco, you're probably not going to like the guy. But I adore him. He really got me through some rough times when I was a teenager. And his music continued to please me as I went into my 20s. And I still enjoy it immensely. But he is an acquired taste, and I accept that. It's nice to know that there are other people out there like me who enjoy his music. Hi, Dawn. And that there are others out there that just hate him. And I understand that. These are classic rock guys who don't get this kind of stuff, and that's fine. To each his own, Everybody has stuff that I don't like, and I do stuff that you don't like, and that's just how music works. That's why music is the glue of the world. It holds it all together. Without it, life would be meaningless. Paraphrasing Eddie from Empire Records. Miko, if you ever see this, I still adore you. And will always cherish the music that I have from you. If you ever do any more Star Wars stuff, let me know. I definitely want it. There's a very special place in my heart for this guy. And not just because, he turned himself into Superman on this album, but because he is truly a creative genius. And he put together a team that really knew disco music backward and forward and made it listenable, made it fun, and made it super huge in the clubs that may not have charted on the radio, but they did well in the dance clubs all the way through, right up through Ewok Celebration. So that's why I love Miko and why he's so important to me. And next time I'll have another artist that I really love, and I hope you will too. For influencers, I'm TC Kirkham. I'll see you next time. Ciao, baby.